Yesterday, Israel bombed a Christian hospital in Gaza and killed 500 people at least. At first, they start off by expressing that the reason they targeted the hospital was because Hamas was launching rockets from in and around the hospital. But then when they realized that that wasn't really going over so well within the international community and the entire world after they've killed so many people, they decided to change their story and delete the previous tweets. Further proof that they intentionally bombed this hospital. After some backpedaling because Israel realized it fucked up, they decided to try to blame Hamas, but just read this. This is the biggest form of gaslighting I've ever seen. It's exactly how manipulators try to make you feel crazy. They say something and then they take it back. The purpose is to weaken you, to weaken your position, make you seem unreliable, and make sure that everybody supports them and not you.
Shalom. Back once more with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bracha, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect. So it's the brother Zariah back with another lesson with a couple topics in the news I want to touch on briefly. Try to make this quick, edifying, straight to the point. All right, so this bombing of a hospital that just happened in Gaza, pretty big deal, breaking it in the news. And it's a big deal because a lot of women and children were killed in this bombing. Now, Israel is not taking responsibility for this bombing of the hospital. Even Joe Biden came out today and said that Israel is not responsible. But what do you want him to say? We know that the U.S. backs Israel, so whatever they do, they're going to take their side. Now, with this whole Israel, Palestine, Hamas conflict, there's a lot of information that's coming out that is against Israel, against the small hat. And basically people are seeing that the narrative that's being pushed in favor of Israel is not true and is BS. So we know that the Israelis, they want to take over the whole of the land of Israel. They don't want no Palestinians to be in that land. So of course they're using the Western media to take their side and make it seem as though the Israelis, they're the victims. But in reality, the Palestinians are the victims of the Israelis. Okay? Israel, with the aid of the West, mainly America, created Hamas. Now we know that these world elites, they fund both sides. So they can create the opposing faction to benefit their agenda. So if you want to take over a land, well, you need a good reason to do so. At least a good reason for the world at large to take your side. So what better idea could you concoct than to create the villain that can be the catalyst to launch an invasion into Gaza? Have them bomb your land and have them say, oh, we're under attack, we need to declare war, right? And Albert Pike went into this. He went into what would cause the 3 world wars, and with this 3rd world war, it's basically going to be, to set it off, it's going to be the Muslims against the so-called Christian world. But the Jews are very important in that because they're going to be the center focus, you know what I'm saying? Because they're the people of the Lord, allegedly. We know that's not the case, but this is the narrative that's being pushed. There's a certain narrative that has to go along with what's going on to make it make sense. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The information has come out. It's out there. It's on the internet. It's easy to search. It's easy to research if you care about what's going on. That even when Israel lied about Israeli women and children being kidnapped, heads cut off, none of that happened. That's came out. Okay, so now that Israel is saying they didn't bomb the hospital, who's really going to believe that? If you got two brain cells to rub together, you know that that's BS. Who else would have done it? Come on, man. You see, so this whole Hamas, Israel, Palestine thing is boiling over into a larger conflict. And that leads me here, because there was a poll done. All right, it says majority in poll fear Israel Hamas conflict will grow into larger Middle East war. And again, this is what the elites want. Okay, when you need money or when your narrative is falling apart, you need to go to war. This has always been the game plan. This is the playbook. All right, but majority of people that were taking that took this poll, they said that this is going to grow into a larger Middle East war, which is eventually going to be what? World War III. So what we're witnessing right now is the beginning stages of the Third World War. And let me get this here in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, which there's uproars all over the place, there's earthquakes happening at an unprecedented frequency right now. As I'm speaking right now, there's earthquakes going off in multiple places around the earth. Matthew 24, there shall be earthquakes in diverse places. That's what the Lord said. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand. So when these things come to pass, the people are going to well understand, because the warning has gone out from the mouth of the Lord's servants, the prophets. Okay, we speak the words of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and we speak these things unto all nations, that everyone should be made a witness unto these things before the end shall come. But when these things start to come to pass, then you're going to well understand that what? That the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So basically that means that this is prophetic. What's going on in the earth today is prophetic. These things were spoken aforetime, long before, even from the beginning. Okay, Habakkuk 2 and 3. Though it tarry, wait for it, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. So even though these prophecies have been, seems like they've been tarrying, men have been speaking prophecies for years upon years. Okay, our elders and apostles, 30 plus years, right? Even before them, prophecies were being brought out. And it seems like things just continued on as they were. But as the scripture says, as it is written, it is for an appointed time. And now is the appointed time for these things to come forth. See, the war that's about to come upon the earth, World War III, it ain't going to be no more wars after this. This is the last one. This is the battle of Armageddon, the valley of Jehoshaphat. This is what it's all coming down to. But we're living in the midst of great calamities. We're living in the midst of the end of the world being manifest. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end. And that's one thing you will come to realize once you come into the truth, that nothing lasts forever. Things might go well for a while, but eventually it comes to an end. Okay, look at your life. One day you're born, one day you're going to die. Okay, nothing lasts forever. Everything in this life is temporal. Just like America is temporal. Okay, the rulership of E is temporal. That's why destruction is coming. All what you're seeing in the earth is an omen to destruction. This world is coming to an end. And the end is manifest. How is the end manifest? Through the wars, through famines, through free speech being taken away, through mothers killing their young children, violence increasing, all the tensions between these nations going crazy, people losing their minds in the street, protests going on all over the place, strikes going on. This is how the end is manifest. Verse 6, even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. So the end is coming, and it's very close. A lot of things are about to come down the pipeline. America is going to be destroyed. Europe is going to be destroyed. The so-called Middle East is going to be destroyed. And the people that are over there in the land of Israel, they're going to be destroyed because they don't belong there. Neither do the Palestinians. But the Israelis, the small hats, they don't belong in that land. Okay, they're over there unrighteously. And you have a lot of protests going on in America that are pro-Palestine. A lot of people have the sentiment of free Palestine. So that in and of itself shows you that Esau's narrative is failing, because a lot of people are against what Israel is doing in that land, because through the means of the internet, people have gone and researched what this whole thing is all about. And they come to find that the small hats that are over there, they took the land by deceit, by unjust and unlawful means, and that they have no claim to that land, that they're not the people. All this information has come out in these last days, and this is why, as it is written, the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and he shall not be able to hide himself. Okay, so Esau is being made bare in these last days. He can't hide himself no more. His narrative is failing. He is losing the war on information. And that really was his strength. Being able to control the narrative was his strength, because for the longest time, he could just tell you what you was going to believe. The information wasn't out there to research it. Well, it was, but it wasn't like it is now with the internet. You can search anything you want to now at the tap of a finger now. That's another prophecy, that in the last days, knowledge would increase. We in that time, man. And, it's been done through the means of the internet. So now that this man is losing the war on information, he's having a tough time justifying himself in this war. See, we the prophets, we already know what's going on. We've been telling you before these things even came to happen, even came to pass, starting with our elders and apostles. And here it is, okay? People are in fear, man. Majority of voters said that they are concerned that the violence between Israel and Hamas will escalate into a larger war in the Middle East. A new Quinnipiac poll found that 85% of voters said they are either very concerned or somewhat concerned that the fighting will expand into a war in the Middle East. 13% are either not so concerned or not concerned at all, according to the poll. But what these people don't understand, those that are not concerned, they don't understand the impending danger that's about to happen. They don't understand that this Third World War, which everyone knows about, this is going to be the last war. In the midst of this war, Yahweh Shai, whom the world calls Jesus Christ, he's going to come back and he's going to lay all these nations down. A lot of people about to be unalived real soon. This is 2 Ezra 14. And let me jump down to verse 10. For the world hath lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of a tenth part. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the tenth part. Now therefore set thine house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So we are at the end of this current age, or this eon or aeon. Okay, this current earth age. Okay, it says, for the world is divided into 12 parts. So throughout history, okay, the earth, it has 12 parts. And even in the time of Esdras, the prophet Esdras, right, 10 parts of it were already gone by that point. So that means that one and a half parts were left, because it says, and the 10th part of it are gone already, and half of a 10th part. So roughly about 1.5 parts left of Earth's history. That's why you have the certain stages of Earth's history. You have the classical era, which is kind of before Yahushua or Jesus. Then you have late antiquity. Then you have the Middle Ages. The Middle Ages is what? The middle part of Earth's history. Then you have the Renaissance era and the early modern period. And now we're in the modern period. All right, this is the last Earth age. Okay, we are in that 12th part of the Earth's history, and it's all about to end. Okay, so that's why Esdras is receiving the vision from, I believe, the angel Uriel, to say what? Reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So this is mainly for the elect, those that have an ear for prophecy, those that have an ear to be reproved, and will turn away from their wickedness. Verse 14, let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. So in other words, don't worry about what's going on in this world. All right, the Lord give you what you need to consist, to get through day by day. We get our daily bread, right? But don't be so caught up in this world to where you looking to have a career, you looking to start a brand new job, and you looking 20 years down the line here. This place ain't got 20 years, man. This place is out already. Okay, that's why I says put off the mortal thoughts. Don't think about what you're going to eat and what you're going to drink. The Lord got you. You understand? Put off the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. Verse 16, for yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look, how much the earth shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. For the time is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come, which thou hast seen. So Esdras the prophet, he's seen the end of the world. He's seen the destruction. He's seen the tribulation that was coming upon the earth. He's seen men be afraid. He's seen women be afraid. He's seen people in great fear. All right. And all what we're seeing in the world now is what the prophet was seeing in his own time. Really, all the prophets saw the same thing. Okay, they all saw the same thing, just at different times, but the end is now manifest. All right, the prophets would have loved to see this time that we in now, because all what they saw is being realized now. But we have been blessed to be that last generation to see it. U.S. vetoes UN resolution for Gaza ceasefire as Biden visit fails to calm fears of wider war. Now, this is why, going back to the other article, it says majority fear that the Israel-Hamas conflict is going to lead to a wider war. Okay, so getting into this, the big controversy out of the UN Security Council on Wednesday is that the U.S. vetoed a draft resolution calling for a humanitarian pause in Gaza as Israeli airstrikes continue and ground forces are reportedly still staging for an invasion. And when they do this invasion, that's when things really going to pop off, because you have a few invasions that's getting ready to happen. America is going to be invaded. The information is out there. UN troops are in America. Gurga troops are in America. Russian, Chinese, North Korean. All sorts of what they call sleeper cells are in America, and they waiting on that green light to be agents of chaos. And this has all been done by the elites to bring about their great reset. But little do they know that they setting up their own snare, because this is only furthering their destruction. All right. They really setting up their own destruction, but they thinking that it's benefiting them. All right. So the Lord got them devils in a trick bag. Reading on. The draft resolution was proposed by Brazil and condemned the terrorist attacks by Hamas, urged the release of hostages while calling for a humanitarian pause of ceasefire. But then the hospital bombing happened. But let's read on. 12 members approved the draft Wednesday. The UK and Russia abstained, but the United States shot it down. So the US, they don't want no ceasefire. And this is why we always say, in order for the earth to be at peace, the rulers that are in charge right now, they need to be removed. They need to be taken out the way. Because even if there could be peace in the earth, they don't want it. The powers that be that's in charge right now, they don't want no peace. They actually want war, which is why they continue to fund both sides of these conflict and create the chaos. This is all a part of that order. Abkeo, create the chaos, you bring about the order. This is exactly what's playing out in Israel right now. You just wake up one day, oh, Hamas attacked Israel. It's chaos. People dying, people getting kidnapped, people are being beheaded. Now the solution is going to be what? Oh, America needs to get involved. The UN needs to get involved. We need to send troops into Gaza to completely take it over and rid the land of these terrorists, because the Israeli people are afraid. This is the play. All right, so we clearly see what's going on. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas Greenfield, says she wanted U.S. diplomacy to play out first, but also criticized the resolution text for not expressly upholding Israel's right to self-defense. Thomas Greenfield slammed the aspect, saying in her explanation before the council, what'd she say? Colleagues, the United States is disappointed this resolution made no mention of Israel's right of self-defense. Like every nation in the world, Israel has the inherent right of self-defense, as reflected in Article 51 of the UN Charter, following previous terrorist attacks by groups such as Al-Qaeda and ISIS, which, by the way, these so-called terrorist groups were created by the CIA. I'm not just saying these things. These are facts. Look it up. Do your own due diligence, man. All right. 911, that was a false flag. It was done by the government on its own people to bring about more control by the elites. The game plan is known. Okay. Let's get into your man, JB. Disapproval rating for President Biden hits record high of 58% in new poll. So according to this poll, majority of Americans, okay, more than half, disapprove of President Joe Biden's tenure in office. Let's see what the comments is saying. Freedom comes with a price, and the only reason you have ever tasted freedom is because many men, good men who came before you, paid that price. Now that burden falls upon us. Will we stand, or will we condemn 1,000 generations to darkness and tyranny? If you're being honest with yourself, this the worst presidency of all of our lifetimes. This is worse than even Jimmy Carter. No administration has done near the damage to this country as the Biden administration has. We probably won't be able to ever fully recover now. But then again, That's the whole idea. Yeah, so somebody said Walter Rush, that number is low. Which, yeah, I actually believe that the number of people who hate Biden is much higher than 58%. But of course, for the article, they got to put the lowball number because they, you know what I'm saying? If they came out and said 92% of Americans disapprove of Biden's, tenure in office, then they would have to get him out of there. There would be a serious push. Look how many protests are going on around America against Joe Biden. Everywhere you go, you seeing what? FJB, which we know what that means. But many people disapprove of what this man is doing, and it's not him. Okay, it's really not Joe Biden. It's who's behind him. The people that are giving him orders behind closed doors. That's who really people need to be worried about. Because he's old, senile. He's on the way out, right? But it's those who are behind him that are funding this man, and really all U.S. presidents. But he's just the one that's been put out there to push the agenda. But it's the elites, okay, that are behind this man, that got him in there to serve their purpose. See, he's just doing the bidding of the elites. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows. But he's greatly despised. He's greatly hated by the populace. All right. And it's going to get worse. Okay. Because, Joe Biden, he about to get America into some deep shit over there in the Middle East and also in China. Because don't forget about Taiwan. Okay, they want to get up in Taiwan. China flexing his muscle in the South China Sea. And notice how since this Israel Hamas thing popped off, they not even talking about Ukraine no more, but that's still going on. This man talking about bringing back a draft. And they all going to do it because they need bodies to throw out there. Okay, America is stretched in with its wars, and their recruitment numbers are super low. So low, in fact, that they gonna have to come with some, what's the word? They gonna have to come with some very appetizing incentives to get people to go overseas and fight. Cause don't nobody want to fight for a man like this. Nobody want to fight for a country that's giving them hell. So they gonna have to come with it. Let's get this last one, and we can close it out. South Korea kicks off week-long arms fair as global threat of turmoil increases. Okay, so the global threat of World War III, the global threat of many wars is increasing. All right, but South Korea, which that's the Western influence part of the Korean Peninsula, South Korea. So they more plugged in with America and all that. All right. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. Okay. So this is the beginning of these things. This is the beginning of chaos, the beginning of the manifestation of the end of the world, because the end is going to be manifest by one of the things is war. Okay, that's why it mentions in the 18th verse the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Now, what is a scourge? A scourge is sent as something to punish you. All right, a scourge is sent to afflict you, to get you to realize that you basically going off. You need to correct yourself. But what? Let's jump down to verse 21. Verse 20, should I say? But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth. Sword The sword goes into what? Warfare, violence, destruction, famine, and great confusion. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So this is what we continue to tell you. All these nations, they ramping themselves up, getting themselves ready. Joel, the 3rd chapter. All right, wake up the mighty men, prepare for war. All right, turn your pruning hooks into spears. That's what we're seeing right now. That's why South Korea and many other nations, they they are holding arms fairs, okay? Because hey, they getting ready to, get it on and popping with these world conflicts. All right. 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. All these nations, the valley of Jehoshaphat. World War III. All right, China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, America. Okay, Israel, Hamas, Iran talking about they about to go up and assist Gaza. All right, so the world drums is beating loud. See, we seeing seditions, uprisings. Okay, great tribulation is coming upon the earth. You see, reading this, what better time to hold an arms fair than in the midst of new turmoil in the Middle East and growing tensions in Europe? That's exactly what South Korea did this week, beginning what will be a week-long international aerospace and defense exhibition as the country looks to position itself as a global exporter of arms. So we in a time of war, okay? South Korea, they know that they're going to have to aid many nations with arms. All right. In the beginning, it's going to be Europe. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, Europe is being cut off from Africa. So all the resources they getting from Africa to manufacture the weapons, they going to have to get it from somewhere else. And that's where South Korea and, other nations are going to step in. But even then, even eventually, what's going to happen is that Europe and America's allies, they're going to turn on them. Okay, even Europe is going to turn on America. Pursuant to Revelation 17 and 16, the beast shall hate the whore and burn her with fire. This year's event attracted 550 companies from 34 nations and government groups from 57 countries. The report noted, and the timing hasn't gone unnoticed, the fair is taking place at a time of global tension due to conflicts in Israel, Ukraine, and East Asia. Okay, and many more wars to come. Okay, skirmishes going to be popping up. All right. So clearly we at the end. Okay, clearly we need to get ourselves right with the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. Repent, because destruction is coming. We keep bringing it out. We keep saying it. We sound like something wrong, like broken record, whatever. But that's the truth. Hey, the Lord got us set up to proclaim the truth in these last days, so that you will have been well warned by the time these things come to pass, and ultimately for you to build yourself up in the spirit, so that when these things come, you will be prepared for the battle. So I'll end it right here. Hopefully this lesson was edifying through the spirit. In closing, call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Racha, Kadash. And until next time, Kom Yasha Allah DTA and the Bible Ball. Shalom.